Now, Danny usually... Danny usually sort of goes around and says names, but I think we're old enough to just crack on, aren't we?
Don't you know all their names?
Yeah, I do. Most. I think Danny usually gives you, 15 minutes, so we've got about 12. It hasn't been discussed. I hope not. I hope not. I think Jimmy was going to open tonight if we lost one before the 20. But I don't know. He's going to bat 3 actually. Mo can't bat 3, can he? Was that an official start? Is that your question done?
First question, anybody? Yeah.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi.
Where's this game at after 2 days, do you reckon? How do you see it poised?
Yeah, it's going to be another cracker, I think. It's I never like to judge a pitch until both teams have bowled and batted on it, and I think both teams played pretty different on it, but both pretty successfully. So a sort of pitch that sometimes doesn't feel like there's much there, and then one will just bounce a little bit or just nip a little bit. So, we thought 270, 280 we were pretty happy with yesterday, and in my mind I thought it could be a first versus fourth innings game, but delighted to have picked up the 10 wickets today, or 9 wickets today, with us pretty level par. There was one stage, when Smith was nearly run out, that I thought we could get a pretty decent lead, but Aussie's battled really hard there, and I think it's just set up to be a cracking game again.
You've mentioned a run out there. How did you guys see it out there, and what do you make of the decision?
I honestly don't know the rules, to be honest. So I think there was enough grey area to give that not out. I mean, what are the rules? Was it the right decision? It looked like sort of benefit of the doubt type stuff, didn't it? First angle I saw, I thought out, and then the side angle looked like the bail was probably dislodged. I think Kumar said to me if it was zinger bails, it would have been given out. But I don't really understand the reasoning why.
Vish?
Hi, Stuart. I suppose before we get to the spell after lunch, can you talk to us about the bail switch with Marnus?
I've heard, I sort of might have made this up, I've heard it's like an Aussie change of luck thing. And I've seen Nathan Lyon do it, and I feel like I've seen Justin Langer do it. And we got some, is that right? You never heard of that? I could have just made that up. But we had a few player misses in the morning session, and we needed to make a breakthrough. And I thought I'll have a little change of the bails. Marnus is quite he's someone who would notice everything, so he took notice of it. And I think Uzi said something to him like, "Oh, I've seen someone do that before." And then, it just worked out pretty magically that he nicked the next ball and Ruti took a great catch. So yeah, I randomly went and celebrated with Uzi for some reason, but it was just a nice little change of bail to change the luck, and it seemed to work for that ball.
So what did you say to husband? You just shook? He
said if you touch my bails, I'm flipping them straight back. So it was like he gave me an immediate warning.
And just for the spell after lunch as well, you kind of came out in quote unquote one of those spells, it looked like, for a start. What was said at lunch, and kind of what was, obviously you needed wickets, but it felt like you came out and you were just on one from the start?
There was a bit of swing. I think when there's a little bit of swing, you want to try and get on that full of a length and bring the stumps into play, bring the outside edge into play. Ultimately, I think, although we only got Marnus in the... Is that right? Did we only get Marnus in the first session? We actually kept it pretty tight and bowled pretty well. I think it was just an old school sort of battle of Test match cricket. So sometimes as a bowling group, you hold your mindset that if you keep things tight, you only need to make a couple of breakthroughs to put the scoreboard under a bit of pressure, and we managed to do that straight away after lunch, and that was probably our chance to try and get a couple more and really develop a bit of a lead in the first innings. But this series, nothing's happened easy for either team, has it? It's ebbed and flowed, and whenever you feel like you get on top as a team, the other team sort of fights back. So I think that's what's made it so interesting, and I don't think this game could be any better poised with 3 days to go.
We've got Matt, Sonia, Mel, and then we'll take a couple more.
Welcome, Danny.
Stuart, we've obviously got two teams who've got very similar scores, going about it, batting quite differently. What did you sort of make of the way Australia went about it today?
Yeah, I mean, they stuck to the style of play they've been very successful for many years now. So, that's our style of play isn't about wanting other teams to emulate it. It's just something that really works for our changing room. And ultimately, Australia World Test champions, they've won every game in the Australian summer. They're not going to come here and change the style of play just because we're playing a different style. So that's the way the Aussies play. They sort of try and see off the new ball and grind you down and bat about a huge amount of overs. So at 30-40 over stage, it looked like that could happen again. But we just knew that we had to keep our patience, and there was enough in the pitch that you felt like you could get a quick bang bang like happened yesterday. And ultimately, that's how the day did turn out.
I think I'm right in saying, sorry for putting words in your mouth, that you're perfectly happy sticking to this style. You're a big believer of it. Is there any part of you that ever thinks, I'd quite like the feet up that the Aussie bowlers get while Marnus is scoring 9 off 80 balls or whatever it is?
I think I had that part of my career with Cook, Strauss, Trott, KP, Bell, Colley, Pryor. I think I had the feet up stage. It was probably why I'm still playing at 37, to be honest. So, ultimately, the last year has probably been the most enjoyable that I can remember, because what Baz and Stokes have brought is a completely different mindset to the group, and it's not about batting time. It's about playing in sort of the entertaining style that moves the game forward quickly to give yourself the opportunity to put the other team under pressure and take the positive option at all times. So, although there's certainly been times where I've had more rest as a bowler, I've not been as entertained as this.
Sonia, go ahead.
Stuart, I know you came in here really quickly, but what was the overriding feeling at the end of that day, especially given the late partnership between Cummins and Murphy that sort of looked like it took the game potentially a bit further than you guys were hoping?
No, I mean, we're delighted. I think that the scores are relatively level. I can't remember exactly what the run difference is, but it's single figures, is it?
12.
Oh no, not single figures, 12. But I think yesterday was probably a pretty decent day to bowl with a bit of moisture in the pitch, and ultimately the Aussies created more chances than the 10 wickets they took. So generally, the rhythm of this game, when you bowl first, is you try and bowl a team out cheaper, bat past them, then you wait for the other team to try and put a score on, and then that's why I sort of call it a first versus fourth innings game. But we're pretty happy that the scores are relatively level, and it's on our shoulders now to go and get a match-winning score in the third innings, which that's not an easy thing to do, but it's arguably at the Oval you'd argue day 2.5 and 3 can be the best time to bat, and then the pitch starts to deteriorate. So we've got to hold true that we think the day 3 will be a really good time to bat and put some runs on the board.
Last two, one each, Mel, and then finish with Mel.
I did want to check now, given the result, are we going to see you swap the bails again?
Only if Marnus comes out, I think. Ozzy gave me a warning, I won't go near his bails. It was a pretty successful result, wasn't it? So if the game gets tight, I think I'll be wandering up again, yeah.
Malcolm, last one, please.
Marnus didn't look very happy for some reason when he got out. He was chirping away somewhere. Do you know what he was?
I think it was the dark.
Yeah.
I think he was a bit unhappy with the light conditions, and I don't know that because I was obviously down the other end, but I think the word got back to us that they're just questioning whether it was. And to be fair, at the Oval, because where the sight screen is beneath, the stands are quite angled. It does look dark when you look out that way. So I don't know what the light. I don't think they took a light reading, did they? But it's probably a little bit darker than it was at Old Trafford when we came off. But it's. I think he strikes me as a sort of batter that is never out. And that's to find a reason why he's out. So the light took a pounding, I think.
Thank you. Cheers, Stu.
That's great.